In this YouTube lighting tutorial, I'm gonna show you everything that you need to know to get started in lighting, from setting up your lights, where to place them, the color temperature, and even a secret lighting hack that Hollywood uses to light their movies. And I'm gonna show you how to implement those techniques into your videos, even if you are brand new or know nothing about lighting.
You gotta just press record.
Hey guys, my name is Neewer with Think Media. Now, when you're first getting started with lighting, one of the main things that you really need to figure out is where to actually put the light. And so there's many methods to actually doing this, but one of the most popular is called 3-point lighting. And so coming up, I'm gonna show you how to set up lights to get 3-point lighting.
Lighting is the most important aspect of getting really good video quality, and they use 3-point lighting in movies, TV shows, music videos. So today I'm gonna show you how to set up each light and what it does. So let's go ahead and start with the key light. So this is the key light, and the key light really is the main light source. And so if you were to use one light, you would use a key light. And so we're using the Neewer NL660, and all this gear is gonna be linked down below in the description. So the key light is on the right side of Heather's face, and this is the main light. And really it doesn't matter if it's on the left side or the right side. The fill light is gonna be on the opposite side of the key light. Now I'm gonna show you what it looks like with just the key light on. So the backlight and the fill light are off, and this is just the key light lighting Heather's right side of her face. So this is our fill light, and we're using another Neewer light. And if I turn this off, you can see that the shadows are pretty dark on Heather's face. And so when I turn this light back on, it adds a nice fill into her left side, and this just makes the shadows not as dark. And I also wanted to share with you that it's okay to have shadows on your subject. A lot of people think for YouTube videos or interviews, they just want to flood as much light as they can, but shadows are actually great because that's what shapes your subject. A little power tip about your fill light is that it needs to obviously be not as bright as your key. And so if you have a light that doesn't dim, maybe it is a softbox with a bulb, what you can do is just take your light and move it back. And so that's going to dim your light if you can move your light source farther away from the subject. So we've covered the key light, and we just covered the fill light, and this is the backlight. It's the third light in this setup. So the main purpose of this backlight is to create separation between the subject and the background. So a lot of YouTubers or people who are getting into video, they don't think to add this light, and what happens is that the subject can often just fall and mix into the background, and this helps really add a pop to your subject. So if we turn this light on and off, you can see that it really adds a lot to the shot. It makes her pop and it makes her stand out from the background, which is exactly what this light is used for. So I'm gonna share a secret lighting technique that they actually use on movies and TV shows, and this is gonna make you stand out on YouTube. But before I get into that, let me know in the comments below, what lights do you use? And if you're getting value, make sure you leave a like on this video. So the secret hack that they use in movies is actually called motivated lighting. So you can see in the background, we have a lamp. And if we were to just turn that off, this light looks really unnatural because we don't really know where this light source is coming from. But we purposely put that lamp in the background to motivate this backlight. So it looks like this light is going onto Heather because of the lamp. And this light is really cool because it's bicolor, so we can change the color temperature to match that lamp. And the cool thing about this light is it's right around $30. And so Sean did a really cool review. If you click the card right here to check that out, I think you guys are gonna love this light. And remember that motivated lighting could be the thing that takes you to the next level in your videos.
Now there's a few questions on this, and one I wanted to answer was from Adam K, and he said, hey guys, thanks for the advice. For the hair light, did you use the same stand as the fill and the key lights? It's a great question, and the answer is yes. We use the same exact lights. What's important with that hair light is just making sure that the stand is out of the shot. You can see that I had the backlight on a countertop, but it was the same exact stand. You can use those basic light stands for all three of those lights. We had another person ask, what is the temperature of this light? Cold, neutral, or warm? So those lights I was using for the key and the fill were the same color temperature. That would be more of a cool light, or what we would call daylight. And then in that background, we had kind of that lamp warm vibe. So we had some cool lights in the front, and that backlight coming in was a warm light. Now, understanding cooler lights and warmer lights and which ones to use and why is so important when it comes to lighting. So up next, I'm gonna explain color temperature, which is a fancy word, and I'm gonna break it down for you guys, and I'll show you exactly what color temperature that you need to be using for your video.
Simply put, color temperature is describing how warm or how cool a light is. And so you can actually measure the temperature of this light in Kelvin. So similar to going outside and saying it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit, I can look at a light like this and tell you that it is 5,000 degrees Kelvin. So Kelvin is the unit that we measure light, and that number before it is telling us how warm or how cold it is. Here's a really easy way to explain color temperature. So right here we have a light by GVM. It's the 560AS LED bicolor lights. And so these lights can be warm and cool. And that's a really cool thing about bicolor LED lights. So right now it's at 6,800 Kelvin. Now, the higher the number, the cooler the light is. This is more similar to what you're going to see outside. And so on my phone, it's connected through the GVM app. I can change the color temperature, and you can see that is changing the color of the light to more of an orange. And so right now it's at 2,300 Kelvin. You can see it's very orange. This is almost like that fire kind of light, or something like a warm lamp that you would see in your house. Now remember that any light is going to have a color temperature. So whether you're outside in the sun or you're inside with an LED light like this, or even a light bulb, they're all gonna have their own color temperature. Now inside your camera, you are gonna see something called white balance. And this goes hand in hand with your color temperature of your lights. And so you want to set the correct white balance to get the most true and accurate colors. And we actually made a video on how to do this, and we walk you through step by step. You can click on the card or check the link in the description to check out that video. So let's light a scene here where we are going to be inside in the daytime. And so we are going to be using lights that replicate the sun and that shaded kind of color temperature. So if you're wanting to add more light to your shot with these LED lights, you want to make sure that the color on these lights match the same color temperature coming through those windows. Now, the cool thing about these bicolor LED lights is it's really easy to do with the knob on the back. You can just change the color temperature right there and match the lights so that it looks like it is sunlight coming through the window. Typically, if you were using bulbs to light a scene like this, then you would need gels to get the right color temperature. And that's really why I love bicolor LED lights, is because it's so easy and so quick to get the right color temperature for your scene. Now, when we were setting up our key light that kind of lights up that main part of my face, we were using these GVM lights. Now, they do say that they go from 2,300 Kelvin to 6,800 Kelvin, but I did some tests on my Blackmagic camera, and I found that you're getting more around 2,500 Kelvin to 5,650 Kelvin. Now, this is still a good range. You're still able to get that warm light like this, and then you're also able to get that daylight type of vibe with that 5,650 Kelvin, although you do need to make sure that it is all the way cool to get that color temperature. So in this shot with that key light, we actually set the light to about 6,700 on the light, even though we were truly getting from the light about 5,600 Kelvin. One of the cool things about these lights is that you can actually power them with Sony NP-F batteries. And so on my hair light, I plugged in those batteries because I didn't want wires going all over the place. And so this made it really easy to just throw it up in the air. And then what was really cool is I could control it from my phone, just sitting down. I could control the brightness and the color temperature just while looking at the monitor, doing it from my phone. This was really, really cool. Starting with that back hair light, we set that up on the C-stand so it was outside of the frame, and we set it to about 2,800 Kelvin to match that lamp in the background. When it came to our key light, we had this just outside of the frame and we matched it to that daylight temperature. And we had a softbox just like this one on that key light. So it gave a really nice soft effect. And so you can actually pick these up separately. And we'll have links to all this stuff in the description below if you want to pick that up. And so that helped to give a nice soft roll off from the light to the shadows. And with the third light in the kit, we actually use this for a fill light. And so I had a $1 bounce board that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I just simply clipped it to a light stand and then I bounced the light onto that board. And this gave a really nice soft light onto the left side of my face, where it just kind of filled in those shadows and really made it a brighter shot. Now let's say it's nighttime just like this and we're shooting something indoors where the color temperature is gonna be a lot warmer. Now, sometimes when shooting inside, you actually kind of want to get that warmer kind of look because our eyes are so used to that daylight color temperature that when we come inside and it's nighttime, we're kind of used to having that warm mood. And TV shows and movies sometimes do this where you see that the shot is on purpose very warm, kind of orangey, and that is because they have these warm lights, and then what they're doing in camera is they're making the color temperature a bit higher than what the lights are at. So in the camera, I could set the white balance to 2700 Kelvin, but you can see that it just looks a little bit flat. I wanted more of those warm tones coming in to really give that warm nighttime lamp type of vibes. So what I did is I actually set the white balance in the camera to 3600 Kelvin, and that is gonna warm up the image. Now with that being said, let me kind of break down exactly how I set this up so you guys can do the same thing at home. Now when I set up the shot, I wanted that lamp to be in the shot, to be my motivational light so that I could bring in my key light on that same side. So you can see in the shot that the lamp sits on that right side of the frame. And then I set up my first key light on that right side of the frame as well. And that is going to be coming in, looking like it is a part of the lamp, also looking like it maybe could be coming from a different lamp, but it has that same color temperature, so it looks very natural in this shot. Now, because that LED light is bicolor, it was very quick and easy to get it to the right color temperature to match that lamp. And then I actually removed the diffusion and I kept that grid on there to kind of keep the grid pointing the light directly at what is a shower curtain. So this is $1 and I'm using this on a C-stand to kind of give a big, nice, soft light so that it can go onto me without, that harsh light. Everything looks nice and soft. I also bought some clips from the dollar store to attach that shower curtain to the C-stand. And really with positioning it, I wanted to bring it as close as possible to help get that soft light. And then I just dialed in the power of the light until it was properly exposed. Now already the image is looking incredible, but I wanted to add a little bit of that extra sauce onto the scene. And so what I did is I went outside and I have that kind of moonlight or street lamp, porch light, whatever it is, and I made it as cool as possible, kind of to reflect that moonlight. So I set it all the way to 6500 Kelvin. And you want to use a sandbag. So make sure you're using sandbags whenever you're setting up lights so that nothing tips over. But I used the NPF battery since that light was outside and I didn't have an outlet out there. The nice thing was those Sony NPF batteries were powering the light and have been working all day for me. Now I set up the light by taking off the diffusion and the grid, but I kept on that reflector dish that came with the softbox to give a little bit of extra power because it does make it a little bit brighter when you have that on. Then all I had to do was make sure that the light was not in the frame, so I raised it up and moved it over until it was just out of frame. Now, if you guys are looking to get into some LED lights, I definitely recommend getting something like a bicolor light because it's so versatile. You can use it for something like this where it's nighttime and you have those warm lights, but you can also have cooler lights or daylight temperature lights. And so that is the really cool thing about bicolor LEDs.
Now, a great question came in from Dolly, and he said, I only have a ring light and a softbox. Is that okay? And yes, it's totally okay. You can use whatever lights you have available. You don't need super expensive lights, especially when you're just getting started out. You want to make sure that you're using what you have. And when I got started, I had some lights that were bulbs with this like can light from Home Depot, and I was using those. And so you want to use whatever you have, and these techniques are going to cross over no matter what kind of light that you have. Now, some of you are using what you have available to you, but the lighting still doesn't look good. One of the main reasons that this happens is because there's not soft lighting. There's very hard lighting. So coming up, I'm going to explain the difference between soft lighting and hard lighting and how you can get that cinematic look into your videos for as cheap as $1. So we're going to go to the Dollar Tree, pick up a few items, and then you can get cinematic lighting too.
Some of you may have lights already and you're lighting your YouTube videos, but it still doesn't look good. And so you're probably asking why? Well, you probably have hard lighting, and that's when the light comes in really harsh. Maybe you're outside and the sun's hitting you in the face. Maybe you have some LED lights pointing at you and the shadows are really dark. And then the light on the skin is really, really bright. And so today I'm gonna show you 3 different ways to soften your light. Soft lighting is often used in movies and TV shows because it looks really professional. So soft lighting is the opposite of hard lighting. Soft light is when the light comes in onto your subject or onto your face and it blends from the bright spots into the shadows. And soft lighting hides wrinkles, and so they often use this in the beauty and makeup space. So the question you're probably asking is, how do I get soft lighting? Well, really there is two ways to get lighting. And the first way is a large source of light. The closer the light is to you, the softer it's going to be. And you can think of this as when the light moves closer to you, it's almost giving the effect of it becoming a bigger light source. So now I'm gonna show you some very cheap ways to get soft lighting. And what better way than to save money on filmmaking gear than going to Dollar Tree. Man, I wish I had a camera for $1. So at Dollar Tree, we picked up two items. The first one was a shower curtain, and we're gonna use that to explain diffusion. One of the ways that you can get a large source of light is by using softboxes or diffusion. So you have the lights, and then you have the diffusion in front of the lights, and by the time the light actually hits the diffusion, you have a larger surface area. So we used this shower curtain for our diffusion by setting up two light stands and then attaching the shower curtain to the light stands. And then we had two LED lights that we had directly behind the shower curtain, giving us beautiful soft lighting. You can also use the shower curtain over a window. If maybe you shoot your YouTube videos by a window and you have that direct sunlight coming in, this shower curtain is going to be a perfect natural softbox for $1. The second way to get soft lighting is by bouncing light. This is another great example of increasing the light source. So I'm gonna show you before with no bounce, and now this is with a bounce added, and you can see that it really fills in those shadows, making this footage look way more professional. Also remember that when you're bouncing light, the light is actually going to be dimmed because it's bouncing off things before it's actually hitting you. So you're gonna wanna use your most powerful lights for the bounce. This is why it works so well with the sun, because the sun is so bright that when it hits the bounce and reflects back, it's still very bright. A little power tip for you is to set your white balance after bouncing your light, because you could bounce your light off anywhere. It doesn't have to be a bounce board that you find at the Dollar Tree. It can be off the ceiling, the wall, but sometimes these things aren't perfectly white. Sometimes your wall might be a little bit yellow or a little bit green, and so it's going to actually affect the light that is going onto you. So set your white balance afterwards. Now, if you don't have $1 to go and buy one of these poster boards, you can use a bed sheet and hang that up on some light stands, point some lights at it, and you're gonna get some really soft lighting. All right, this third tip for soft lighting is simple, it's free, it's using shade. If you've ever shot video outside, you've probably noticed that either the sky was way too bright, or maybe you exposed it so you could see the colors in the sky, but then the skin was way too dark. The nice thing about shade is it's covering that direct sun that's harsh. And so when you really think about what shade is it's a bunch of bounced light. So naturally in shade, you're gonna get soft shadows. Things are gonna blend a lot better. Just keep in mind that when you're shooting and you are in the shade, make sure that your background is also shaded.
Now, Elevate Trading said to shoot on an overcast day too, and that's a great tip. If it is overcast out, you are gonna get that soft lighting because the sun is coming through those clouds, gonna give you really nice light. Now, the only thing to be careful of is if the clouds start to break up and you get some sun coming through towards the end of your video and you have like really harsh light, and at the beginning of the video you have this really soft lighting, so just be careful for that. But if it's gonna be overcast all day, or at least all the time that you are shooting, then this is a perfect way to get soft lighting. So by this point, you're on your way to be a pro YouTube lighter. You can light a video, you know where to place the lights, you know what color temperature is, you know how to get soft lighting. Now you're wondering, what are the pro YouTubers actually using? And surprisingly enough, they're not using LED panels. They're not really even using those bulbs with the soft boxes. They're using something called the COB light. So I'm gonna break down what that is and how these YouTubers are setting up their videos to look super good, and so you can do the exact same.
So the lights that most of these YouTubers are using are these big, large, kind of UFO looking lights. Now, those are actually soft boxes, and the lights behind those soft boxes are called COB lights, or COB lights, which stands for chip on board. First, I'm gonna explain why these lights are so popular, and then I'm gonna show you how to set up this kind of a light. First of all, COB lights are an LED light, so they do not get very hot, and they get very, very bright. So though they're much smaller, they get much brighter than something like an LED panel. So for example, this light right here is an LED panel, but a cob light is gonna get much, much brighter than something like this panel. These lights are so bright that you can use them in the day, even if there's a bunch of light in your house or in your studio, you can turn these on. It's gonna be bright enough to add in that extra light to your scene. Now these lights also have something called a Bowens mount, which allows you to adapt certain accessories to the light. And most of these YouTubers are attaching these large soft boxes, the UFO spaceship type of looking thing. Those are big, large soft boxes, which is another benefit to using this light, is that you can attach a huge softbox, which gives you a really nice light, which also allows you to light multiple people in a scene. So you can use one light and light multiple people, or a larger area than something, you know, with a smaller softbox. Because these lights are so bright and have a very soft light, makes these so popular for YouTubers. Coming up here shortly, I'm gonna explain how to set up one of these lights using the Viltrox Ninja Weeylite 400. Now, first off, what's really cool about this light in particular is that it's bicolor. So you can have a warm light as well as a cool light, and anything in between you can use with this light. Now, most of these lights that the YouTubers are using, something like the Aperture 120D, you know, those are only daylight, so you can't even make it warmer. So what's really cool at this price range is you're able to get anywhere in that color temperature. So I love that this light has that function. Now, right now I am using that light and I'm using it on the daylight mode. And coming up next, I am going to be using it in a dark mode, a warmer mode with that kind of lamp color that you see back here in the background. I'm going to match my light to that so you can see how that looks as well. Now, the first thing you're gonna need with this light is a stand. I recommend getting a C stand because they're so sturdy and you can use them in so many different ways. So make sure you check the description below if you want to pick up the stand or the light or any of the other accessories that we talk about in this video. Next up, you want to set up your softbox. You know, by pressing out those wires, they snap into place and it's really quick. And I love this softbox with how quick it is to set up and how easy it is to tear down. After that, I'll take the light and attach it to the softbox. I like to do this before putting it onto the C stand. So once you do that, then you can put it onto your C stand. So now you got your light on your stand, it's ready to go, and you're wondering, where's the best place to put my light for the best lighting? Well, there's a few options and I'm gonna walk you through that right now. The first one is what I like to call beauty lighting. And this is when you take your light and you put it directly behind your camera. This is gonna give you a really flattering image. It's not gonna give you very many shadows. It's going to be kind of what they would call flat. There's not a lot of contrast in the lighting, but this is good if you're doing makeup tutorials or any kind of beauty videos. This is the kind of soft lighting and full kind of front on lighting that they use for these beauty videos when they don't want a lot of shadows. They don't really want it very moody. They just want very good lighting filling in every part of the face. Now we're gonna move the light just a little bit to the left, about a foot, and we kind of want it above the head, but pointing downwards. And this is gonna give you some good shadows. And so what you're seeing, actually right now, I am using what I call the YouTube lighting. So Peter McKinnon, some of these other guys are using this kind of light because it gives a good shadow onto this side and it kind of adds more depth and contrast to the lighting. If you want to get really, really moody, just keep moving your light farther away from the camera. You can see that more shadows are being added. And this might be something you'd see on a short film or something like that. But the YouTube lighting seems to be kind of in the middle of that dramatic as well as the frontal lighting. And it really depends on what kind of content you are making. So do some experimenting and find out where you think the best lighting is and take a look on your computer and see what looks best for you. Now, what's really cool about these lights too is it comes with a remote. And using this remote, you can easily dial in your brightness. And so you can increase the brightness if you'd like. That's a bit too bright, and so I can bring it back down to wherever I'd like. You can turn it off, turn it back on, all using just the remote. And so this makes it really, really easy to set up your lighting while you're sitting in front of the camera. You can look at the monitor and go ahead and get the perfect lighting for your scene. Now, to spice things up a little bit, I've actually added another light. It's the same exact light. It's the Viltrox Ninja 400, and it is actually up here above me, and it is my backlight or my hair light. And I've set this to the warm temperature to match this lamp in the background. And you'll see this a lot on YouTubers. They like to add this key light. A lot of them don't even really add any fill light on this side. They just keep the key light here. And the second most common light that you'll see them add after that is this backlight. Now, if we wanted to shoot something at nighttime and match kind of the lights that are in the house, we can do that with this light. We can turn this to a warm light and match the color temperature of that lamp back there. Now, you're gonna see a few things happen when I do this. So let's go ahead and change this light to that color temperature. All right, so it looks like I've brought another lamp and I've just blasted my face with a lamp right here, but this is the same light. I've just changed the color temperature. So let's go ahead, and the automatic white balance is already starting to mess with some things. So let's go ahead and change the white balance. All right, so it's nighttime. There's no extra daylight coming in through the windows. I have this set to 2700 Kelvin and it matches that lamp back there. And then I also have this backlight at the same color temperature. So this is more of a nighttime setup if you want to match your lights to your lamps. With this light, you can do that, and that is what I love about these lights.
Now, the COB lights are really cool, and that's what I'm using right now. I'm using one from GVM, and it's a really fantastic light, and it's actually a light that I recommend. It's the best light under $200. But if this is too expensive for you, I actually made a lighting buyer's guide, and I show you what the best lighting setup is, anywhere from $25 to $50 onward, all the way up to $200. So if you're interested in that, click on the screen, and I'll see you guys in the next video.